Latin Machete by Cold Steel. Now this one is also reprofiled, and he wants to go a bit Dave Canterbury and John Colhane, which is having a Scandi on that section there. So for close work, he's got a lot more control. So we've basically got that and that, and then the big thing at the side. So my job is to turn this into something like that. Back to there. Hello, Scott from Wessex Blades. My latest couple of quick fire jobs are some resharpenings, and they're from my mate Joe. Now I'll show you the two blades that we'll be working with. First of all is this budget Golok that we got. So it's that sweet bit of steel, that very heavy, and a really good beach handle, but he's not too happy about the profile of the blade. And the other one is his Latin Machete by Cold Steel. Now this one is also reprofiled, and he wants to go a bit Dave Canterbury and John Colhane, which is having a Scandi on that section there. So for close work, he's got a lot more control, rather than that really to me was a bit of a convex, because you can see the edge catching it, and like it's rolling away from you. Yeah, so I did a reasonable job on the belt sander, but he's after a Scandi in that section. Now, go back to the first one. I mean, for me, for the blade, for the condition of it and the way it cuts, I'm more than happy. But Joe, fair play, is very particular about his blades. And if you look at it very carefully, at this section, and you catch it just right in the light, it's not balanced. And I'll just show you on a piece of paper what I'm on about. He's looking that way on, and on paper what it looks like is this. There's the end of the blade, as if we're looking at it like that, okay? And then those two pencil lines you see there, what happens is a grinder's gone down in that section, great. A grinder's gone down in that section, and then what happens is you get the final abrupt cutting edge. And what's happened is it's gone like that and like that. So if you look really closely, you can see that that might be even, so on the big wheels, but as it went to put the final relief edge, the whole thing is skewed over this way. So looking up close, that's happened, and there's the big grind going away like that. So we've basically got that and that, and then the big thing at the side. So my job is to turn this into something like that. Back to there. So I hope you can see I've padded the handle out with a glove so I don't mark it too much. That's pretty well solidly in there. I'll get my mask, which I've left the corner here. Ever work without eye protection, however tough you think you are. And yeah, floppy disk. I'm going to slide the handle device out of the way. A little bit of work and I'll see how I'm going. Rather than go 4 or 5 passes, I'm going to have done 2, and 2 more passes. I think I'm there. Now, this is where the practice over and over and over again allows me to know I've done 2 holding it a certain way, I'm going to do 2 holding it exactly the same. Quite how easily you'll be able to address your grinder back to the blade after taking it in and out and then doing the same sort of pass. You know, that comes with experience. But basically I know what I've got to do. I've got to do 2 more and I'll be pretty close. Pretty close. I think I've nailed it. That's just basically I've been doing grinding with a grinder for 18 months, 2 years now. I don't know whether you can pick that up, but now the smallest bevel at the top is in the centre. So if I draw it again, I'll show you what I've done. So here comes the camera. So what I've done is, there's the big sort of bevel, and now we've got that up there, and because I've used the disc of the flat grinder at an angle, I reckon I've got something very similar to what was over there. Okay, now if I was using the flat disc a different way, I'd have a straight, which wouldn't be balanced with this being microscopically, very acutely hollow ground, because obviously they're on the grind wheels. You're getting that sort of radial effect on the grind. So that would have been there originally, and I've managed to basically copy it by using the angle grindered flat discs a certain way. So now I've basically balanced them up. I will try and flatten them both out by using stones. Right, so I've mounted a dual grit stone to catch the light. I've got the fine underneath and the coarse there, so the fine's on top. This should really mount it in wood, but I'm ever so gentle with it, and the vice is quite good. Now there's many ways of doing it. You can do it away or towards yourself. What I'm going to do is find that relief edge. So I'm balancing it on the stone and then trying to find it. I say this, you're not really working with much here. It's about there. I reckon we're about 1/5 of the way, so let's... I haven't put any oil on there yet. I'm just seeing if I'm at the right angle and if I'm going the right... just how far down the blade I want to go in terms of that way. I'd say the light is quite bad because I'm in a garage as opposed to naturally lit workshop. But I'm trying to be as machine-like as possible, so as I'm addressing the blade to that stone every time, I'm keeping the same angle. What I think I'll try and do is explain what I'm on about by using the angle grinder a certain way. If you can imagine the disc, this frisbee disc, if I was up against the blade, okay, now you can imagine if I had the disc and a blade and I addressed the blade and the disc together so that it were coming at, and the only angle involved was how the angle grinder was coming to the disc, I would generally have that happening and I would have one angle involved. I would have how that met that. So if you were on a chop saw, all you're doing is you're setting the angle on the table. Now what I'm trying to do is involve a compound effect. So if you had a chop saw and you were cutting 45 degrees, like cutting skirting board, but then you actually tilted the saw as well, you'd have a compound thing going on. So what I'm on about is this: instead of just that happening, I am tilting, skewing the grinder, so I am not hitting it with the underside flat, I'm hitting it with the radial edge and coming at it not flat but at an angle like that, and that is actually hitting it with a hollow grinding effect. So that's what he did on that Golok just now. Rather than put the disc flat against the blade and doing it, which would give me a straight relief edge, I kinked the angle grinder over and only used the edge of the disc coming across it like that, ever so gently, and then giving it a hollow ground effect to mimic what was on the other side. Hope that's clear. Right, cheers. Hello again. Right, so now we're going to be doing some stonework. So I've got the finer edge of a dual sided stone in the vise with some WD-40 on it. So there we are. There it is. Now there is a wicked Raymir's sharpening video, and there's a guy, a bushcraft guy, doing one on waterstones, both top-notch stuff. Okay, so all I'm doing is what I've picked up on the net, which is if you're going to put a new edge on something, which I'm basically doing because I've got micro hollow grind, is I'm going to do 8 passes one way, 8 passes another, 8 passes one way, 8 passes another, and when I think I'm getting somewhere, I'll drop this stone out and get an even finer one, 8 one way, 8 one over, 8 one way, 8 one over, and then start to doing single passes. Because what happens is each time you sharpen it, and I've gone this way, I'm doing that to the edge. And then I do 8 the other way, and I'm doing that to the edge, and then 8 more that way. Now I'm gradually getting there, seesawing backwards and forwards, but when it comes to the final bits and you're on a really fine stone, what you don't want to do is do 8 that way, 8 that way, 8 that. You'll be there forever and a day, so you do 1 and 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 1. And eventually, you should nail it. Okay, so I'm going to be doing 8s initially. Now, however small that angle is, this is what I'm actually feeling the angle is. Something around a 20 degree. It's about 5, 6, 7, 8. The other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'll do another pass of 8s. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can already hear the sounds change. 5, 6, 7, 8. And I believe now I've got that tiny relief edge flat. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is some pretty damn good steel. For the money you pay for this is an amazing bit of kit. So I'll swipe that off on my thing. Because what I don't want is particles of that grit getting on the blade later when I'm trying to clean it off and they end up scratching the blade. Joe's very particular about his blades. This is why I'm doing it. Okay, so hopefully I haven't scratched it beyond oblivion. That's fine. So I'm going to put it down on its sheath. Change that for a finer one. So now I've got this one. This is an India stone. I think this is about a 2000. Now, because I soundproof my garage, I've got a big slab of carpet on the garage door. So I just rub it against the carpet on my garage door just to clean the edge up. So now I've got that clean. That now goes in the vise. Dash of WD. I'll try 8s. I'll take the helmet off now. Just give it a shot at 8s. There we go. Now if there's anything more therapeutic that you know of other than doing this, let me know, because I love it. It's just you, the blade, stone, the oil. 2, 6, 7, 8. And what we're trying to do now is get rid of that coarse looking ground edge and get it to a far better finish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can see grey particles in the WD-40 where the metal's coming away. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to clean the blade up, visually check it. They've got all the scratch marks out, if I can help it. But what's really difficult is to make sure every last grain of that sanding grit hasn't ended up on the blade. Yeah, I got a couple of scratches on there. Okay, so I'll through some 4s now. On the front. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I say most of this is just instinctive. I'm listening to the sound and how it feels, and whether it sits on the stone in the angle of the bevel. Trying a couple of singles now. Well, that is pretty sharp. Now I'm going to check in the light, see how I'm getting on. Let's say I don't think the lens is going to pick up anything like what you need to see. It's quite a fine looking finish on this side, but I'm not happy with the last few inches on this side, so I'm going to tidy it up at the front section under here, because there's still coarse marks from the original stone, the light grey one. Joe being Joe, I want to get it so it, it catches the light without any great scratches on the actual bevel. And then balance it up. So it's always a nightmare trying to keep the blade from getting scratched from any bit of stone. Well, hopefully that way. Here's a nice edge. I still got a section there that he's working on. So it's the very tip of the blade. 2, 3, 4, and try guess how to even it up. Of course, every time I try and wipe the blade off to get the oil off, I could put a scratch on it from a bit of grit. Just about. Yeah, just about. Okay, I'll see how it goes for a piece of paper. Obviously this is a log blaster. This isn't a £300 Woodlaw. Piece of wood here. Right. See that one? Yeah. Pretty fine shavings on it. So when you see the thickness of the blade, this is a log blaster. And it's pretty sharp. So, put that to bed a minute. Get on with the Latin. So it goes. See you in a bit.